Welcome back. As mentioned in part 1 of this video series, the left and the right brain's relationship is sort of like a person riding an elephant. The rider is the rational left brain. The powerful but potentially unreliable elephant is the emotional, intuitive right brain. And more often than not, it's the elephant that decides which decisions we're going to make. But there's one additional and critical part of the equation: the path on which the elephant treads. This is our environment, the circumstances and structures that shape our choices, often without our conscious awareness. According to the elephant rider analogy, when we complain that clients don't listen or can't stick to a new program, what we're bemoaning is the loss of rider or rational control. Our clients' left brains are the elephant riders. They're trying to stay on track with a good nutrition or fitness program in an obesogenic, scary, emotionally taxing world. In fact, entire industries are now based on tweaking our brain circuits. Fast food companies poke at our visual cortex with omnipresent, flashy ads, bright colors on packages, and delectable images. Food manufacturers purposefully create foods that light up our brain's reward pathways and make our tongues and noses do a little happy dance. This food also gives us, in abundance, which would have been scarce and valuable a million years ago: salt, sugar, and fat. Why the heck would our primal brain trade deep dish pizza for rice cakes? Eat it now, famine could strike any minute. Maybe have a nap afterwards and save energy, says our reptile voice. In the meantime, our personal stress has increased. Depression and anxiety are now the top mental illnesses in industrialized countries. Not because we're naturally neurotic, but because the world is so stimulating, demanding, and frazzling that our Stone Age physiology and neurology can't cope. Full of fast food, work and family pressures, car commutes, sedentary labor, and few opportunities for natural movement, this environment scares the heck out of the emotional elephant. Combine the elephant's natural fear and avoidance responses with an environment that presents us with hundreds of decisions every day and hundreds of ways to get off track, and you can understand why clients are both mentally exhausted and dipping into the donuts. And that's just one of the reasons why appealing to our clients' left brains too much may sometimes be counterproductive. In the well-known book Flow, it's discussed when we're in the zone, performing effortlessly and joyfully, unaware of time and unimpeded by obstacles, we're actually using our non-rational brain, or synthesizing the various parts of our brain much more effectively. Noted sports physiologist and psychologist Tim Galloway, famous for his Inner Game series of books, concurs. You can't think your way into flow or the zone. In fact, too much left brain action creates what he calls self-one, a critical, nattering, know-it-all bean counter whose exclusive job is to point out errors and dissect our performance to death. When we are in self-one, we can become paralyzed by analysis. Sound familiar? This would be the client who likes super complicated fitness programs or meal plans, but never does them because she's overwhelmed by getting the details just right. Although it seems, well, logical, overemphasis on self-one and the left brain actually inhibits learning and neuroplasticity. In other words, when clients feel anxious and self-critical about performing, there's never going to be lasting change. Conversely, what Galloway calls self-two is the self that flows, the self that calls up the best aspects of our whole brain and puts them to work in a harmonious whole. What inspires self-two and inhibits self-one? Bringing awareness to simple tasks, focusing on one basic thing at a time, emphasizing behaviors rather than goals or outcomes, feeling good about meaningful accomplishments, shaping the environment so that clients can't or don't have to overthink, so that the self too can just do. So how can we as coaches intervene? We'll talk more about that in the next lesson, part 3. Stay tuned.